Ian Miller aboard Big Ben, a clear round.
Another rookie comes into the international ring, Eric Lamaze.
And look at him fly across this turf.
What's he doing? What's he doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, another historic moment at Spruce Meadows. You can't author scripts like this.
Welcome back to the International Ring at Spruce Meadows for the Sunday evening portion of the 2020 Spruce Meadows National at-home edition. For those of you that have not been with us through the National this year, I invite you to join us on our YouTube channel. It will be there in perpetuity. You know, we've spoken a lot about the history of this venue, the great rides and double slaloms and Grand Prix and derbies all through the Spruce Meadows National. And by 1998, Spruce Meadows was really gaining its stride. It had become one of the most recognized venues in the world. It was challenging for #1 in the international horse sports, and the international ring had become really center court for this sport in North America. At that time, we created a documentary to find out really what was in the mind's eye of the Southern family when they first thought about Spruce Meadows and then brought it from a dream in their mind's eye to the reality it was. And that was just 25 years into the journey.
From the beginning, man has been fascinated with the horse, the spirit, the strength, the mystique. William Shakespeare wrote, "When I bestride my horse, I soar." Perhaps this describes the sport of show jumping. It takes courage and nerve. It became an Olympic sport in 1912. It was the fascination with the horse and the sport that fostered a family's dream 25 years ago, a story that in essence tells itself.
What had happened was a growing interest, a growing awareness of what the sport was in the world, a growing awareness of the horse as an animal, not as a chattel, a growing feeling for what man and the horse had meant through the centuries, and the great feeling of genuine sport that I experienced in some of the great sporting, for show jumping sporting nations of the world, in Ireland and England and Holland and Germany and places like that, where everybody, regardless of social status or elitism, came together around the horse as equals. And I found that comradeship, the elements of real sport in it, very, very attractive.
Fantastic jump for
the first competition day at Spruce Meadows was June 3rd, 1976. From day one, the best athletes in the sport would come from around the world.
Beaubairn's riding for that first prize money of $4,000, and she is clear so far. And this is our leader.
I think it was a combination of all of our family. Certainly Ron and I talked about wanting for quite some time about putting something back into a community that had given us so many opportunities. And we were involved, our children were involved with show jumping, and so we said, why don't we do something for the sport of show jumping?
I think my dad felt that there had to be a way that we could bring the competition to Western Canada, and that all things in Canada don't have to necessarily be in Toronto or Montreal, that we could have great competitions here. And in fact, we could probably bring the world to Calgary and have international competitions. I don't think that he ever dreamed of it exploding and becoming what it is today, but he certainly did have a mission to make sure that people in this part of the world didn't have to always go away to get the competition.
In Europe, the sport had developed and was embraced. In North America, it was not.
And it's a clean round. for the second round, giving Flambeau and Frederick.
There were many who considered it a gamble to build this unlikely venue around this unlikely sport.
Laura Beliski was cleared that first round. Remember, she will be our last competitor in the second round of competition.
One jump left here for Great Britain's Nick Skelton. One jump left for a double clear round. And he does it! 2 clear rounds, but Laura Beliski knows what she has to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I would classify myself as a classical gambler. Obviously, everybody in their life takes risks and things. Certainly, there's much uncertainty around anything that you undertake to do.
He loves the journey. You know, he sets goals for himself and for all of us in our family. But he really enjoys what is made up of trying to make yourself better and try to make the place better. I think it's a very unique quality in someone.
Well, that goes with being RD's daughter. You always believe him. I don't think Linda and I had a very good feeling for conceptually what he was talking about. But both my mom and my dad and my grandparents on both sides have always believed that they can get things done, and they get things done, so there was never any doubt.
We are live at Spruce Meadows outside Calgary, Alberta. Doug Smith along with John Simpson, and you're looking now at John Anderson and Gobi. As we mentioned,
It's 1987. Spruce Meadows has grown into one of the best venues in the world in only a decade. The venue hosted 3 world-renowned tournaments that not only captured the crowds in Calgary, Canada, but television audiences around the world.
exciting finish for us.
You've got a great, all of the last horses, Doug, 4 or 5 of them are really contenders. It's unfortunate that Don Esteban had that.
I don't blame people. I think they were skeptical. But you know, when someone comes up with a new idea and they want to do something like this, I think that there is built-in skepticism. We always believed if we started on this project, we would stay with it.
The creation of the crowds, the belief in us, really goes to an extraordinary group of companies that have helped us. I think in the beginning, they did it from almost a pure community support sense. But somewhere in about 15 years ago, I think they started to understand what they were creating, and it's now done with a great sense of national pride, and they receive considerable international acclaim from it too.
The challenge from day one was not only to have the best athletes embrace Spruce Meadows, but to change the mindset about the sport. The goal was to move show jumping off the society pages and onto the sports pages.
That's what I think Spruce Meadows brings to people. It's people from all walks of life feel like they have a place here, and they are part of Spruce Meadows, and they have made Spruce Meadows what it is today. So they should feel like that.
I think we've always made people feel that they can come with all their family. And I think also the price. You know, there's so few things that families can do nowadays where you can have the whole family go, grandma, grandpa, the children, the grandchildren.
For sure, the horse always stays the same, and for sure the jumping always stays the same, but that doesn't mean that we can't have the RCMP musical ride here, or the pony rides, or the Festival of the Nations. There's lots of things for people to come here and see.
We still will draw 23,000, 25,000 people with the rain coming down and sometimes snowing, and people in parkas and rain sheets and all of it coming out, and they love the sport. I mean, in our sport here, the crowd is like at a football game. They really understand the sport, they understand the riders, they understand the challenges, they understand the courage. And they react to it. They roar, they're yelling, they're clapping. I mean, it really is terrific stuff.
A sterling performance. John Whitaker and Henderson Gavin of Great Britain move into the lead.
Here in Canada, this country was founded on the back of a horse. Here in the West, people say, well, Western horses is great. But even the Western aficionados love show jumping because it is a great test of skill with a man and animal. And people identify with it and they don't feel threatened by it.
So we thought we wanted to have a place where we could breed young horses. We wanted to have a place for training young horses and young riders. And we wanted to have competitions. We never thought about competitions at the level that they're at right now. But we always wanted to have the ability to put on top show jumping events so that the riders in Western Canada could get an opportunity to really compete.
The last two jumps now. Ooh, and he gets right underneath it. He's got to hustle to the...
He's got the time, and he has defended his title in the Queen Elizabeth. Mark Laskin finding it incredulous that he's been eliminated. Sullivan not taking off, getting all off balance, almost unseen.
1995, 20 years since Spruce Meadows opened its doors. It's a testament to the dedication and desire. The stands are packed, and this day's story is reported on sports pages and television sets in over 70 countries.
I wish I could tell you it was all, a great part of a master plan. The dream and the goals, I think, were always there for not just myself, but the people that came here and believed in it from the beginning and that have joined us since. In my own business experience, I long ago learned that you can have modest beginnings. And you can have your dreams, and if you don't let those make you act in a crazy manner, and that you try to do things within the means that you've got with great attention to detail and genuine commitment, you can have some wonderful things happen, but they don't all happen right now.
It is magical, and I often think Spruce Meadows is magical because, especially in the spring, when when the new foals are being born, when the leaves are coming out on the trees, when the grass turns green, and when you get the feeling that we have another year and the tournaments are just about to begin, it is magical, and it is a wonderful time, I think, for everyone that's involved.
I don't know. It's hard to say what Spruce Meadows is to me. I mean, it's everything. It's my life. It's my family's life. It's, I think, a lot of our colleagues' lives, and it has a special. It is special. It's not like a regular job. It's not. We have to do different things, but what's special about it is it's a big family, and it's a big family trying to attain the same goal. And I think that's the great part about Spruce Meadows.
Spruce Meadows is, and always has been, about the horse. It's the fascination with the horse that fostered the dream, and today it's still simply about the horse.
It's been a great 25 years, and I'm looking forward to another 25 years. It's It's brought our family together. It's allowed us to meet new people, gain new skills, develop new friendships, some exciting moments, some sad moments, but it's been 25 years of wonderful memories.
For me, one of the most exciting things was when we were standing in the grandstands and the people were singing "O Canada." That is, I don't know, it wasn't, it's not like the funniest moment, but to me it meant so much. And I don't think I ever will forget that day. And it was, like I said, it was a really lousy, cold day. And I was standing right up with the people and watching and I think I don't think I ever will forget it, because to me that meant, okay, it is accepted by everyone and it can go only forward.
It's always a special challenge to come to Spruce Meadows. I mean, it's I think together with Monterey, the absolute top in the world. These two big shows.
It's really an example for the rest of the competitions. I think in all aspects of organization, of how Spruce Meadows, the team of Spruce Meadows, conceive the sport, and what Spruce Meadows has done not only for Canada or North America but for the world. Offshore jumping is just an example.
Every venue, of course, is different all over the world, but there is no question, and I take myself right out of the loop of being a Canadian. Spruce Meadows is the best venue in the world today.
I don't know if I have a favorite one. I have many. Through the years, I won a couple Canadian Championship and won the World Cup a few times and have a lot of good classes. I mean, it's always nice to come here, and hopefully we have a lot of new young horses coming up, and to win a Du Maurier would be very exciting.
Away from being $250,000 richer.
Time looks all right.
Oh, he does it.
My goodness.
Incredible.
Double clear, the only one to do it today. Look at this Irishman, Peter Charles.
Oh, look at him grab his horse's ear. Laina doesn't quite know what's happened to it. He saved this horse all year for the Spruce Meadows Masters. He said he wouldn't take it to the Olympic Games. He wanted to come to the Masters. He is $250,000 richer.
50,000 people congratulating Peter Charles in the International Stadium here at Spruce Meadows. The deserving champion, the only one on the day. There's Spruce Meadows co-chairman Ron Southern coming over to shake hands with a man that has risen to the top of the sport.
I'm very, very proud of what I see in innovation here. I think that there has to be a dynamics to human enterprise if it's to keep growing and being better. And that takes innovation, and it takes courage, and it takes great determination, execution, and it must have a tremendous ability to be self-actualizing. What I mean by that is to be critical in a most objective way of how it can be better.
I think the competition gets better all the time. I think if we're talking about the sport, of course the sport improves. It's like any sport, you know. The horses get better, the riders get better, so the competition becomes better. But when you ask me, is it better? That's a difficult thing to say. We aren't really interested in quantity nearly as much as we're interested in quality.
One unique quality about the sport of show jumping is that men and women compete on the same playing field.
if you look to the future, I think those are our challenges, to always keep a freshness about Spruce Meadows. And so when people come, you know, there is always something new, or there's something we've done maybe for the athletes one year, or for the media one year, or for the sponsors one year, or for the fans one year. You know, we have to always think about what we can do to make it better.
It's been a long time since the Germans won here at Spruce Meadows in the Nations Cup, since 1984.
Well, they need this clear round from Ludger and his young stallion, and he delivers, their champion.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is why Ludger Beerbaum is the #1 ranked athlete in this sport. He came out on an 8-year-old stallion to post a clear round when his nation needed it most.
I think people really understand that we built Spruce Meadows not just for now, not for just these 25 years, but hopefully, God willing, and everything being, you know, some sort of sane world, it'll go on not just for another 25 years, but through the generations. That's our greatest hope for it, to have a venue that is recognized around the world as a venue of great sport, great friendship, and that is acclaimed around the world. And yeah, and I think it can be that.
Did she do it?
Oh no, she just missed it.
But I think in the hearts and minds of the 55,000 plus at Spruce Meadows today, indeed she did do it. Triple clear performance, just a shade off the pace set by that man. And for everybody at Spruce Meadows and around the world who's experienced the Demorier International, what incredible sport we were treated to today. Wow.
It's been an adventure for us, our whole family, and it's been something we've been completely involved with. And Spruce Meadows will go on, and I know what my age is, and I'm not ready to retire, and yet I know that I must pull back more and give other people an opportunity, because they've got so many good ideas, and they must have the opportunity to make use of those.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rodrigo Pessoa came to Spruce Meadows as the #1 ranked rider in the world and the reigning world champion, and today he lays claim to the final edition of the Demorier International. Your champion from Brazil, Rodrigo Pessoa.
Why wouldn't you want to have a dream like Spruce Meadows stay alive and go on into the ages, where people can come and just enjoy a day in the country, even though the city's surrounding it, and have a tranquil setting and feel like there's a piece of Camelot here? Why wouldn't you want to have people treasure the very animal that allowed our forefathers to come and pioneer this land?
The horse. It fostered the dream of Spruce Meadows, a story that has not yet been written. There is no ending.
Integrity, caring, agility, collaboration. Every day, our people go to work delivering inspired solutions in structures and logistics, electricity, natural gas, retail energy, and ports and transportation to homes, businesses, and communities around the world. Find out more at atco.com.
Paying attention to the smallest detail. Getting to the destination the most efficient way possible. Ensuring all individual elements are working together to drive high performance. And making sure you do it consistently. Being the best comes down to perfect execution. That's not just good show jumping. That's good railroading. We love a sport that rewards precision.
Throughout the 2020 Spruce Meadows National at-home edition, we've been introduced to a couple of horses for courses, particularly Derby horses for Derby courses. Ian Miller's Big Ben, Judgment with the Great Beezy Madden. And recently, Richard Spooner of the United States was partnered up with a horse that went into the history books as arguably the best Derby horse we've ever seen at Spruce Meadows, and we've seen lots. His name was Cristallo, and he proved to be an iron horse, winning 4 Derbies at the Spruce Meadows National.
Welcome to the 1976 Spruce Meadows Masters, and this afternoon we'll be featuring highlights of the...
And he got in bad trouble there. He lost his stirrups.
Whoa. Well, problems in the triple combination.
Over the last 8 years, the course has shown its teeth. 1,100 meters, 25 jumping efforts, just 3 clear rounds. Beezy Madden with 2 of them, Paulo Barrios with the 3rd. In 2015, who will rise to the occasion and just how far? It's the CNOOC Nexen Cup from Spruce Meadows. Are you ready?
I hope so, Ian. This is going to be really exciting.
From simple beginnings in 1975, the dream was spawned. Now, 40 years later, Spruce Meadows, the dream, has firmly taken root and established itself as the leading venue in the world for international show jumping. Over the last 4 decades, riders from 57 nations have come through the iconic Spruce Meadows Clock Tower to test their mettle. Today, that test is served up in the form of the CNOOC Nexen Cup from the Spruce Meadows National. Hello and welcome to Spruce Meadows. I'm Ian Allison, joined as always by John Garner, but today joined in a different venue, John. We're high above the international ring, 5 meters up the bank, an obstacle in the Spruce Meadows Nexen Cup Derby.
My knees are getting all twitchy in just a few short moments. We're going to evacuate. The horses are going to be coming straight through here, heading on straight down to the floor, and we are going to be underway. Derby Day gets no better.
Leopoldo Palacios designed this course. We've been through 7 seasons of it. We've only seen a small handful of clears. The course is in perfect condition today.
It is in perfect condition, Ian, and my feeling is if I stand here with you right now is I expect to see a jump off with actually clear rounds today. Could be as many as 3 or 4. And the reason I say that is I think slowly over the years, the riders have been rebuilding their confidence. It's been a testament to the Spruce Meadows philosophy of trying to get the Derby back to where it was with its standing around the world. 28 horse rider combinations have opted to give it a shot. So I think we're in for a great competition.
Let's talk about that. For a bit there was a stigma. It was too intimidating. Spruce Meadows Organizing Committee took the tack to reintroduce some junior amateur derby events, other rings, other venues. Much tougher than this, some would say, in the All-Canada ring, but here it's the atmosphere, the ambiance of the crowd and the tradition and all of that.
Ian, this is a major. I mean, that's what you have to understand. Derby Day, the big derby on the big field, it's a major. It's one of the toughest competitions in the world. There is no question. Now, I will sit here and tell you that it's smaller than when I jumped them, but you know, it's the atmosphere what you talked about. When these stands are full, it is so intimidating, this arena. But as an athlete, is that not what you want? Don't you want to feel that excitement? That's why we get into sport in the first place.
And what will it take to win?
A brave rider, a brave horse, but you know what? You can't be overly brave. You got to stay in that moment. You have to know that you've done your homework, and the biggest thing if you're going into a derby is my horse comfortable with the naturals? So assuming you've done your training, you know that you can tick that box off, and then for me it's getting on the gallop, getting on the rhythm early and just staying there.
A year ago it was Quentin Judge of the United States who came through the clock tower and with his victory really changed his career.
Oh, there's no question, Ian, and he grew right out of that, and you can see even starting off this season this year in 2015, he's a different rider.
Here's a little bit more with our defending champion.
It was a great day. It was something I'll never forget. I think the first time in a derby with any horse, it's a little bit of a crapshoot. You can be prepared, but you never know what's going to happen. So I went in with no expectations. I knew I had a good horse and wanted to see what happened, and it ended up in my favor. He showed me that he wasn't really bothered by any of the naturals. He showed me that he could do it easily. He jumped all the jumps easily. I rushed him at the grob, and I had A of the grob down, which is my fault. And I tried to be a little quick, and I had the Canada planks down also. So he showed me that if I kind of stayed out of his way and did my job, he could jump it clear. At that point, I didn't know that Angel Corrali had 2 down also when we were tied. So I thought, okay, we'll stay up here for the prize giving and get a nice check and have a good day. But I didn't know at that point that I was still tied for the first. Again, it's a crapshoot. It was only 2 horses, and I knew I was lucky to go second. And before I went in, they told me that Angel was quick, but not crazy fast. So I knew a few places that I could be quicker. From 1 to 2, I made a really quick turn from the wall back to the skinny because I knew my horse would do that well. From the double Liverpools to the single Liverpool vertical, I was really fast. I really wanted to be faster, so I knew if I kept galloping up to the White Oxer, I could take him into Canada planks, and that's worked out well. I'm still in the beginning of my professional career. I had a little bit of a slower start than maybe some other riders. I was always working at different barns, and I really had, up until the last 3 years, didn't really have a sponsor with some horses of my own to show in these classes. Last year was a huge, huge step for me in my career, and I was lucky to come here with a good group of horses that really excel on a field like this. To be third in the Queen Elizabeth Cup was totally unexpected and a huge, huge success of mine. I mean, I was 1 rail away from winning that class, and I thought, you know, if I can do that in this big of a stage, I have a good chance to really do some good things with this horse. And we kind of carried it through the summer. I mean, I tried not to get too overconfident and just take it as it came. It was a great, great season for me.
Your champion, ladies and gentlemen, Quentin Judge of the United States of the 2014 CNOOC Nexen Derby.
The success last year, it allowed me to kind of pick and choose the classes I wanted to do my horses in. I knew them better, and I knew no matter what happened in the winter circuit or the beginning of the spring circuit, I was going to come here and I had horses ready to go, and I aimed my string to be ready for this week in this show. As of last year, you know, it was a bit of a building year for me, so I just kind of went along with the schedule, and I got here, you know, waiting to see what would happen. But this year I really prepared myself and my horses to be ready for this week. My goal is to win the Derby on Sunday. With my horse, I have as bad a chance as anybody can in this class. I made the mistake, as many riders do, in the Nexen Cup, where I took too bold of a line to the grob. I tried to came in a bit of a slice and really attack it. That's a novice mistake. When you're jumping natural jumps, you want to ride hard and ride through them. I think the thing about the Derby is no matter what's happening, the jumps still fall down. So you can't just go at it, go for broke, and ride everything, because you're going to have 4 faults. I want to be consistently in the top ribbons at this horse show. A lot of riders can win 1 class here, 1 class there, but my goal is to be in the top 5 or 6 as many classes as I can.
Quentin Judge really has become one of the top-tier American riders, and much of that is due to his victory here a year ago. And while he looks to be in the top 5 or 6, I suspect today he looks to be in the top 1. He's very confident in his horse.
Well, he should be in, because he's been there and done that, right? I mean, when you've gone through that experience and you've gone and nailed it, you've put out the performance, you have to feel that you can do it again. That's the beautiful thing with the Derby. You know, it's not, if you're the defending Grand Prix champion, the course can be totally different. The course designer sets up a different test. You know what's coming. Quentin could actually go home and take this course home and rebuild it in his field. I don't think he's done that, but he's going to come in for sure, full of confidence and feeling good.
Although I do understand there's a number of Devil's Dykes around North America that look very similar to the one they'll be jumping today.
Oh, there's no question, Ian. There's a lot of them, but and you want to go home and do your practice, but there is nothing like it on Derby Day. The Devil's Dyke, where it's situated around the course towards the end, there's a big fan base that's right there, and again, you can feel that anticipation, especially if you're on a clear coming in.
So Quentin Judge, definitely a pre-event favorite, but there's others here with great Derby experience. Who do you like?
I think right off the bat, I got to go with Leslie Howard and Lennox Lewis. There's such a great combination. They've got Derby experience. They've won Derbies before. And Leslie is the preeminent rider at getting on that hunter gallop, as I like to call it. It's like being out on the old hunting fields in the UK. You just pick up that pace and you roll along. Lennox Lewis knows how to do it. He won't be intimidated. So we'll watch for her.
Well, for sure, veteran combination, lots of experience in this ring. They know what it takes to win. I also like if Richard Spooner can sort it out with his veteran Cristallo, another 17-year-old.
I think we talked about it off the top. Certainly for me, experience in this competition is critical. Quentin, last year's champion, and we're looking for him again today. He gained that experience before. So, I'm not sure you're going to get a newcomer, and you've got that strength in depth with those experienced riders. So I think that's what we're looking for today.
There are plenty of newcomers who think they have a shot. They've chosen to start today, and we will be underway from the International Ring at Spruce Meadows when we return. The tradition of the CNOOC Nexen Cup, 1,100 meters, 19 numbered obstacles, many of them naturals.
Well, that's a tough place to get stuck in at the top of the bank where we were just recently situated. The Devil's Dyke producing all sorts of problems. Venezuela's Emmanuel Andretti clear until he got to that triple combination, ends up on 15 faults. Leslie Howard's got 2 in this competition. First off, Moon Doggy. Number 2 coming down. You don't like to see that. And then also out of the Devil's Dyke, Leslie's sitting on 12 faults. And as we stand right now, the leader in the clubhouse is John Perez from Colombia, with a horse I know you're very partial to, Utopia. She does a little bit of everything. The speeds, the Grand Prix, and the Derbies. Another combination clear until they got to the Devil's Dyke. Jumped in really nicely. The little gal just couldn't quite get up the hill, however. 2 rails coming down. The Canada planks being the second one. 3-time faults for a total of 11.
One of the most disheartening sounds in the sport, the sound of the Canada planks being lowered near the end of this course. But the 14-year-old mare carries Columbia to the top of the standings, much to the delight of the sun-drenched crowd. In excess of 30,000 on hand today at Spruce Meadows. There you see the current leaderboard as we pick up the action on the International Ring here at Spruce Meadows. Some of the biggest names in the sport still to come.
Well, we've got some fantastic competitors coming. You can see right at the end there, the 3 that we talked about. Leslie Howard back again with Lennox Lewis, Richard Spooner, and the defending champion Quentin Judge.
1,100 meters, this Leopoldo Palacios course, 19 numbered obstacles, 25 jumping efforts. The time allowed 165 seconds. They are expected to maintain a pace of 400 meters per minute around this course, and you must get that pace early and stick on it. No one knows this better than McLean Ward, who ironically, despite being such a dominant figure in this sport, has never had much success in this event.
Yeah, I've been giving it to him for a little bit now, and it's I think I'm starting to wear him down, Ian. He's told me one day I'm gonna do this, Garner. I'm gonna shut you up. I mean, he's too good of a rider, quite frankly, to not, Ian. This gelding Troya Retiro, he's got high hopes for this particular type of competition. Lots of scope, and he says he's very brave at the naturals.
It's interesting, we look at a utility horse such as Utopia currently leading the way, and then you see a horse like this that McLean Ward really has identified as a Derby-style horse.
Well, I think it bodes well for the future of the competition that you've got a rider of McLean's stature and standing in the sport. who believes it's worthwhile the effort to go find a Derby horse and prepare one, as opposed to just move away from them. So, on to the double of Liverpools. Got to be patient here. B comes up very quickly. Great ride. I like the aggressive line here to the Liverpool in the middle of the arena. And now a long, long gallop to the dry ditch.
Here we are at the 82nd mark, where a typical Grand Prix course would be complete. And now we're on to the back nine of the CNOOC Nexen Cup.
I have to say, I really like his tempo so far. He's just started to lengthen the stride. Now he's through the first early part. Going back around the north end of the arena and up to the top of the bank. This is such a great view.
If you've carried good pace to here, you don't have to hurry things down to worry about the clock. Nicely off the bank and nicely over the vertical at the bottom.
See there how he just jumped off the last 3 or 4 feet. And that gives you the right takeoff spot for the vertical.
Now, as he comes off the road jump, we talk about the Devil's Dyke and what it has meant over the years, particularly going in. You can train it all you want at home, but are you doing it on a tired horse?
Well, it's just the atmosphere too, Ian. There comes down A and B. Oh, he's come down.
That's a cheap rail.
Now, if you can keep this last fence up, we'll have a new leader.
A nice effort for the first time around this track by this lovely bay gelding. 8 jumping faults, well within the time allowed, about 3 seconds to spare. McLean's got to be quite satisfied with that, although he is a stickler for clear rounds.
He's actually internally, I think, going to be thrilled with it, Ian. He knows he gave the correct ride to Troya, kept the pace nice. Looked like he still had plenty of horse at the end. Let's have a look here. Just a little bit low with the front end and desperately unlucky coming out. The tiniest of touches. Oh, it's the back legs that bounce it again, and it got it bouncing. That is very unlucky.
Little reverberation there coming out of the Devil's Dyke. A costly reverb, as it were. Nonetheless, at the top of the standings currently, the 10-year-old gelding ridden by McLean Ward. As we move on to a former Spruce Meadows Derby champion, Paulo Barrios with the great Sinatra. Knows what it takes to win here. Today it's Fanica with Venezuelan veteran Paulo Barrios.
Early on, see Pablo just hunting along. And this is an area of the course you're always mindful of the time, but you don't want to chase the clock at this point. You can be quite efficient in a couple of spots. This is one of them. Just allow your horse to stretch out a little bit. And hopefully we'll back off the big brown oxer. And then again, just roll around the corner onto the water jump. Whoa, it's a big stretch.
Oh, not enough. Little issue there for our water judge. There you see the 4 faults on for hitting the tape. As the 10-year-old mare seemed to have lost her forward impulsion over the water and just got hung up a bit. Not quite able to cover.
Well, in my mind, you can see she's what I would call a little bit on the forehand. Her head and the neck get a little bit low. Very heavy in the shoulder. Pablo's constantly working to try and lighten her front end up. And those long gallops, you can see she's wearing down and pulling him forward out of the saddle.
A little bit different than humans. When they get tired, they tend to move on a little faster and start pulling versus just sitting down to take a break. And here you see the mare, just the chemistry's just getting a little bit off between the two of them as she comes down the bank now.
So just lost the direction there. Vanenka just got a little bit unsure, I think, of where she was going, what she was supposed to do. He's going to have to work really hard here. to finish off this course with no more rails, Ian. He's asking her to whoa, but she's really pulling, but it's pulling out of, I think, tiredness.
Charging hard.
Good ride. Oh, too bad.
That was a shame.
Got by with it coming out, 2 strides.
Venezuelan veteran Paulo Barrios over the final oxer. Finishing up on 12 jumping, 1 time for a total of 13 faults. Meter 75. It's a big long stretch over that final element on course.
And it's so hard to not just see it and run onto it. Let's have a look. Pablo was asking it to take off there. He was aiming for the V right in the middle, which is a smart move. I think that gives the horse more to focus on. But the mare just dove off the left leg a little bit.
Canada's Ben Aslan will be next into the international ring here at Spruce Meadows. He has had an incredible rise on the international scene over the last couple of seasons in the open divisions after successfully completing a great junior and young rider career. Ben Aslan, a member of the gold medal Nations Cup team here at the Masters for Team Canada in 2014, followed up by a silver medal at the Nations Cup final in Barcelona, Spain. Although his top dog, McAvoy, has been sidelined with a bit of a nagging injury, he believes that Do Re Mi is the horse in his stable best suited for the Derby. Let's find out now. Ben Aslan underway aboard the 12-year-old stallion, Do Re Mi.
Well, he's done really quite a good job with this horse, turning him from a meter 30 prospect into a fully fledged international competitor. I think this is actually Ben's first senior derby. So a little bit finding your way around, and like we keep saying, it's very different, the derby from the Grand Prix.
I'm sure he gained lots of insights from his father, Jonathan Aslan, 2-time Canadian Olympian and winner in the past on this stage in the international ring.
So far, so good. Now, this is an area that you have to be patient. Don't want to go charging in too much. Unfortunately, Ben did just that. Just looked like the stallion got a little excited around the corner. That jump has come down in excess of 50 times in 9A.
Over 150 trips since Leopoldo designed this course, commencing in 2007. 3 clear rounds in the record book, 2 of them posted by the great Beezy Madden and Judgment.
Incredible. Jump number 12 is not something that you really expect to come down. It's very tall, for sure, but straight plane vertical. That is one of those that you really don't like having down when you know what's coming. Great ride for Ben and Do Re Mi down the bank. Well, he's just starting to get a little bit long, needs to reorganize himself.
Keep his pace going as well as he heads towards the Devil's Dyke. Time allowed 165 seconds. Is that you double your score?
Yep. But I think something to build confidence from, though, Ian, he jumped the A part clear in front, which I think is always a sign that the horse is okay with it. He's just got to learn to flip up behind, and there's a way to train that. And see, the C element being knocked down in front is, again, just something that the horse has to learn. So 16 faults, but a lot of positives for Ben Aslan.
Well, this young rider's been learning for a long time. His first riding instructor, indeed, Albert Cly, who was the very first champion of a Spruce Meadows Derby in 1984, providing us all with a memorable Rolex moment in time.
From Spruce Meadows, the Texaco Invitational Jumping Derby.
I knew that those courses are very demanding, and we always be prepared our horses pretty good for that. In the first couple of years, lots of riders weren't used to this kind of jumps. And myself, I really liked this type of jumps.
Great, oh that's great. And there's Mr. Southern, Ron Southern, he's very happy about that. And she's clear.
Linda and I went in the jump off, and I wasn't quite sure if I should go steady because she was my student. I said, we have to keep a competition.
Here comes the riding master.
I think Sebastian, his was a little taller horse and he had a bit longer stride than Hello.
Come on, Albert. And they're at 39.6 seconds, a whole second faster than Linda and Hello as it.
A good round. That's the kind of ride I like to see Albert Cly put in.
The CNOOC Nexen Cup from Spruce Meadows, where McLean Ward of the United States leads the way, looking to challenge that, will be Francois Maty, great veteran from Belgium, about to take on the international ring here. His 11-year-old gelding Elvis, first-time Derby competitor, as Fang Ji, the CEO of Nexen, takes the Cavalier salute from each and every rider coming into the stadium today. Nexen welcoming some 2,000 family members to the grounds today, part of this crowd in excess of 35,000 under spectacular conditions here on the international ring at Spruce Meadows. And we are underway with the baldy-faced chestnut, Elvis.
I gotta tell you, Ian, this is going to be some ride from Francois to negotiate this Derby clear with Elvis. He's had a really rough week. And as soon as I say that, the rail comes down. I think maybe just struggling a little bit with the size of the international ring. Francois himself, of course, has jumped here many times, but the horses do have to learn it.
Early on, a little bit standoffish by the big chestnut gelding, 11 years of age. He's in the hands of a master, but he has a foot in the water here, so we're sitting on 12 coming off the water jump, with plenty of course yet to show its teeth.
Oh, exactly. I mean, you're really just now getting into the early part of the tough areas. But he jumped that very nicely. Little bit of a pat there from Francois. That was a nice touch, just to reassure him, say, hey, great job, fella.
A little dodgy there at the standards over the Liverpool, but the strength of this rider really is tough to describe, what he can get out of horses that are often very difficult to ride.
Well, he's so big and so strong. He's physically imposing. And Elvis is not a particularly small horse. To give you an idea of just the size of Francois. Let's see how he negotiates the bank.
You know, we mentioned the size of Francois Maty, probably 6'4", 220 pounds, but he's easy on his horses. He's very quiet on their back. He doesn't get in their way.
Little confusion there from Elvis as to what he was supposed to do. The ride was good, technique was fine. Just got to learn these exercises. Because really that's all they are. They're just different training exercises put all together.
Time starting to become an issue in addition to the 24 faults they're currently sitting on.
Jumped out okay, but came on a very aggressive line. You heard Quentin Judge in the open talk about how he was a little too aggressive. I really do think you have to square that turn up And the last jump down as well.
Meter 50 tall, meter 75 wide, and the big chestnut not able to clear. So 28 jumping faults, 1 time fault for Francois Maty and Elvis. One of the bright, smiling faces and rising stars of international show jumping, who's enjoying a great start to this 40th anniversary season at Spruce Meadows. Next on course, Andres Rodriguez, already winner on 2 occasions in the international ring at Spruce Meadows this season. And now he's about to embark on a new chapter of his career, taking on the CNOOC Nexen course.
Looking to add a 3rd Venezuelan flag into the upper echelons of the leaderboard.
50-50 is the 10-year-old Belgium warm blood mare that he's aboard. Winners earlier at the National in a jump-off competition. Now let's see how their fitness level is and how the great Eddie Macken has prepared this young Venezuelan to jump the course. No stranger to Derby success himself.
Well, I was going to say, if anybody can prepare you for a Derby, it would be Mr. Macken. Of course, him and the legendary Boomerang, 4 times winners of the Hickstead Derby. Arguably the most historic of them all. But interestingly, Andres on this horse, Ian, won a competition in the United States a little bit earlier in the season that had natural obstacles. And his comment coming out of the ring was, I think this one is now ready for one of the big derbies at Spruce Meadows. That's really what I want to go and win. And I think I've got a horse capable now. It really is a feather in the cap of an international rider to sit on top of the leaderboard at the end of this competition. What a lovely ride. He was nice and patient. Now he's took the longer route here to the Liverpool. So it's wasting a little bit of time, but ultimately at this stage, I think you leave the fences up and you let the clock look after itself.
Oh, and he's carried a nice consistent pace from the onset. If he doesn't waste too much time at the summit of the bank.
Yep.
As he heads up there now.
80-some seconds after you're off the dry ditch off to the brown jump. That's not a bad point if you can keep it going.
No hesitation coming down. Ooh, careful horse.
Boy, did he get lucky. A little bit scrambly. But now we can relax.
But not for very long.
No, but you can, yeah, you can just take your time here a little bit, and now you've really got to get your plan executed.
Sight in this A element, 17A. Coming in at a bit of an angle.
He is, isn't he?
Ugh, didn't give her a chance.
It draws you in all the way around that corner. And I think what you have to do, you actually have to go past the line.
Serpentine back.
Yeah. Overshoot it. Because you have to remember, that's on an angle anyway. A, B, C. Oh, and the last one down as well.
It was all going so well until 17A. We finish up, no problems with the time. More than 10 seconds under the time allowed. If he had to do it all again, it would start at the Devil's Dyke.
Nice close-up there. But you can see even how 50-50 wasn't even looking at the jump 3 strides out. It's a jump that you have to be able to see and study. You've got to know it's coming so that you can see the exercise.
Not the way he'd penned it out in his mind this morning, I'm sure, as we go back of house and see the defending champion, Quentin Judge, being assisted by the current leader, McLean Ward, down in the international warm-up area. 4 to go still here at Spruce Meadows that can change things up on that leaderboard. First of the 4, Olivier Philippart of Belgium. Earlier we saw Francois Maty take on the course with not a great result aboard Elvis. Let's see if the youngster, the next generation of family Philipparts, can put in a strong result in his first ever Nexen Cup Derby.
Well, he said to me when he got here that he had what he thought was a good Derby horse that was comfortable with the naturals. He might be comfortable with the naturals, but Aragon has not been comfortable with anything else at Spruce Meadows so far. this week. He's really been fighting the monsters in the ring.
Well, the ring's about half the size of Belgium, so I think he's just adjusting to the difference from the European surfaces, European approach. And throughout the course of the season, I'll be interested to see how this pair matures and gets more comfortable in this environment.
Boy, that was a big move of tape. And 4 faults still not up on the board, so it must have just relocated it as opposed to stood on it.
Relocated that pole, certainly, for 4 faults. This portion of the course, you really find out how your horse responds to Liverpools.
Yeah. Yes, you do. Any weakness in them is found out really quickly. But I would say so far, Ian, not so bad. I've said how many times 9A comes down anyway. Oh, don't get overawed by the view. What a great camera angle that is.
The divots continue to build up on the bank here at Spruce Meadows. Nicely ridden by Olivia Philippoux.
That was a very good ride. Stayed composed, didn't panic. Just so there, Aragon was a little unsure there as to what he was supposed to do. Strong ride from Olivier. Now, on we come again.
Only the Liverpool thus far. 9A down as they head into the Devil's Dyke.
Another one, look, he's not even, oh my goodness me.
Little miscommunication, misalignment, and disaster at the Devil's Dyke.
Ian, you can see where he turned and he was almost at the wing. He had to be 30 feet. Let's have a look here. He's got to keep going to the left. Keep going to the left. In Olivier's mind, he is on line, but you can see how far off to the right he ended up there. A came down, so he's going to be on 12 jump-in faults. He's going to have time faults as well.
So the time has marched on, the faults have added up, and Olivier Philippoux of Belgium encounters a bit of a disaster on the last portion of the course.
Well, it was certainly a bit of a disaster at the in part of the Devil's Dyke, Ian, but I think when all's said and done, a couple of rider errors on course, if he can fix those, he's going to have a really good chance for the next derby later in the season.
Three left to go here at Spruce Meadows, and what a trio it is. Lennox Lewis and Leslie Howard come through the clock tower once again, looking to deliver a knockout punch. The seemingly ageless duo, especially when it comes to derby competitions, getting ready to take on this course again.
This horse's attitude, Ian, is just absolutely spectacular. I mean, he could just as easily be stood in the middle of a field with an oat bag on the end of his nose as in the middle of the international ring on Derby Day. He's just so relaxed, so calm.
16 years of age, a real gamer, and because there aren't the related distances you see in Grand Prix competitions and the like, this really suits this aging gelding who can never be overlooked on the morning line.
Well, we talk about the partnership. I mean, Leslie knows him so well, and he does set up nicely for her approach of just picking up that gallop, rolling along. She does so little adjusting with Lennox Lewis, especially backward adjusting. Everything is solved going forward. That's a little bit the Howard method.
Ooh, got lucky at number 6.
Double tap. Oof. Well, that wasn't even close. That is not something you expect to see from Lennox Lewis, usually a very good water jumper. Maybe they both took it a little bit for granted.
I was about to say, I'm not sure Leslie gave it as much respect as it needed as well. Though I wouldn't say it to her face.
Maybe somebody could email that to her. see how she's put it all behind her, just rolling on. A little preparation there for that tall Nexen upright. It's just such a weird feeling, no matter how many times you do it, galloping around to that innocuous little jump, disappearing from view, and then bang, right back on top. Oh,
Ooh,
Leslie.
That's unexpected.
Overcorrected. We're just saying that how she solves everything going forward. That time, she didn't get aggressive coming off the bank and go chase the jump. She expected him to stick a tiny little step in there.
So we've had the water and a stop.
Wow.
Certainly not what I would have expected. Let's see how the Devil's Dyke's managed.
And a more direct line in here. She's taking advantage of Lennox Lewis's experience. Oh, she's in. Come on, Les.
Much to the delight of the crowd here, first we've seen come through the Devil's Dyke successfully.
Oh, planks come down. McLean Ward dodges another one. 2 left to go. And Leslie Howard, my goodness me.
What a roller coaster of emotion on that trip. My goodness. Disbelief on the face of the great veteran.
Disbelief all over the place. Just the slightest touch with the toes. Down it comes Peter Howard riding every fence with her as usual. I'm sure there'll be a full debrief afterwards.
McLean Ward continues to sit at the top of the standings, followed by John Perez, and now Leslie Howard is in solid position on the leaderboard, but she wanted to be at the top.
I'm starting to think I might have to retract my statement about jump off with clear rounds in, although there are still 2 to go, 2 completely capable of pulling clear rounds, but
both veterans, both know what it takes to win at Spruce Meadows. Richard Spooner having such great success with Robinson, and latterly with this horse, Cristallo, his 17-year-old gelding underway.
I'll tell you what though, Ian, 17 years of age, and if you were to stand by Cristallo, he looks exactly the same as he did as a 10-year-old. And he pulls and pulls and pulls.
Still the fittest horse in the Spooner stable.
I tell you, this might be the fittest horse in international show jumping in. The amount of work this horse gets. But Richard says, I mean, you have to keep on him. He will not take a day off, this horse.
Big natural oxer, obstacle number 6.
Cristallo's already on the muscle. Out over the water nicely. This is where Spooner will just allow him to canter on now, right around this corner. Watch him working back. Steady, great ride all the way deep into the corner. Look how balanced he is there, Ian.
Nicely done for the viewers at home. Give the horse a shot, and as Richard Spooner says, don't look too far ahead when you're going around this course.
Those double Liverpools, they always ride tight. You really have to ride the horse with leg and hand support once you get in there. Allow him to breeze on a little bit at the dry ditch.
Right at the 90-second mark, coming off the dry ditch, so time should not be a problem. They're a tandem known for their pace.
Now, if you're comfortable, you can save time here, just like Spooner's doing. Excellent. Excellent, Ian. He's putting on a clinic right now with Spooner. The crowd loving it.
They're appreciative of what they are hoping to be the first clear round of the year.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Again, now look here, folks. See how deep he goes? He goes past the line, comes in. Oh! It still comes down.
Jumped in perfectly. That is a cheap 4 faults. If he keeps it on 4, he will go to the top of the standings. but open the door for Quentin Judge, who will be last to go. No sign of fatigue on Cristallo's.
Stay patient.
There you go.
Great.
Time not a problem. One rail down. There is your leader at Spruce Meadows with 1 to go. Richard Spooner of the United States with Cristallo.
I bet you McLean Ward was liking his chances of an 8-fault jump off, but Spooner not to be outdone with his wonderful horse Cristallo. This was absolutely spectacular. Perfectly ridden. And right here again. Keep the momentum going, don't panic.
Hits the two-stride.
Yeah,
perfect.
and just stay still, Ian. You've just got to allow your horse to do it. Textbook.
The final entry in the CNOOC Nexen Cup, the defending champion, Quentin Judge with Double H Dark de la Hart. He's got to go 4 or better if he has any chance of defending the title with this 12-year-old stallion.
But I think the difference this year, Ian, is that with his experience from last year, he knows where he made mistakes. He talked about being too aggressive to the Canada planks. So in theory, he should be able to come in with the confidence, knowing as long as he doesn't get ahead of himself, a clear round is possible.
Victory a year ago was a game changer for his career on the world stage. Little assistance over the water, and the signature crow hop from the Grey Stallion. And another.
Boy, that is disconcerting, man. When you're trying to get your rhythm. Oh, again, another nice ride. He showed patience. It's so easy to come around there and see the forward aggressive shot.
Got to get in a little close here. Saving some valuable time.
Boy, he's got a ton of time the way he's galloping on.
Does he ever? He's a full 5 seconds ahead of where Richard Spooner was. Now he's got to manage the rails. He's got 1 to play with.
When having that time in the bank, especially if you're aware of it and you feel comfortable, will allow you in a couple of spots coming up now to be a little bit more patient. Oh, he really dug some divots sliding down there. Get him back, get him back, get him under control.
You don't want antics at the road jump.
Last thing you need is him kicking a rail out behind. All right. Come on, Quentin. Do your job, be patient. He's a little direct again. It's gone down.
He's had 1 down.
He can't afford another. He's out. He's out.
Can he jump these last 2 clear and force a jump off?
What's he doing? Oh! Why would you do that?
He has a full 10 seconds to spare and he cuts inside.
He rode it like a jump off, Ian. What was he thinking?
Costs himself a boatload of cash. There is your winner. Getting a little Aquafina bath. Cristallo carries Richard Spooner to victory at Spruce Meadows.
Let's take a look back at what unfolded on the international ring at Spruce Meadows CNOOC Nexen Derby Day. At the start of the competition, 152 attempts around this Leopoldo Palacios designed course and only 3 clear rounds. Richard Spooner and his veteran 17-year-old gelding Cristallo coming in knowing they had to do better than 8 faults to take the lead. A of the Devil's Dyke coming down for almost the 100th time in this competition. Inside the time allowed and 4 faults and to the top of the leaderboard with 1 to go. And that partnership, the defending champion from 2014, Quentin Judge and H.H. de la Hart. A little stallion, a little feisty all the way around the course, but in the early going, things look to be on form. However, A down into the Devil's Dyke, and he cannot afford another rail. But then a bit of a brain cramp from Quentin Judge as he takes the direct line to the plank. It comes down, and victory is assured for Richard Spooner and Chris Starlow. Let's have a look at the final leaderboard. The United States taking all 3 medal positions. McLean Ward once again getting so close to winning that first ever derby. And here is the champion with Ian Allison.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a spectacular finale to the 40th anniversary Spruce Meadows National. A great friend in the victory circle, a great champion. Richard Spooner of the United States wins the CNOOC Nexen Cup and continues what's been a wonderful tournament and a wonderful history of Derby competition. What is the secret, Mr. Spooner?
You just have to have a horse like Cristallo. That's the secret.
You wait till they get a little longer in the tooth, till they rise to the occasion. It strikes me Robinson's a little older too at this stage.
Yeah, I have to wear them down like water on a stone.
Tell me, no clear rounds today, but you must be thrilled with the way this old gelding performed.
Come on. I mean, I've had him since he was 5 years old. The fact that he's still going at 17 and still pulling my arms out of the socket means a lot to me.
Well, he pulled your arms out of the socket all the way to another win here at Spruce Meadows, and I'm joined by the Chief Executive Officer of CNOOC Nexen, Fang Ji. A great event here at Spruce Meadows and a wonderful finale.
Yes, it's truly spectacular, and we are glad to be part of this and part of the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and it's with a great deal of pleasure we continue this tradition of this magnificent event, and I believe to the champion goes the spoils. You have a check to present, sir.
Yes. Congratulations, Richard.
Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Spooner of the United States continues his extraordinary Spruce Meadows National in championship form, and I now get to take it back, as I have so many times from Richard Spooner. Invite you two gentlemen to step forward and hoist this beautiful crystal trophy, symbolic of supremacy on the final day of the National. The CNOOC Nexen Cup goes to Richard Spooner and his 17-year-old gelding, Cristallo.
Broken, remnants of all that's golden. I'm holding on to that feeling. I'm holding on to that feeling. I'm holding on to that feeling.
Pure Leaf iced tea starts with the finest tea leaves. Carefully selected and slow brewed for a taste you can truly savor. We take our time. You take yours. Pure Leaf, real brewed iced tea.
This year, Spruce Meadows is proud to bring you our 45th anniversary edition of Name the Foal, presented by TELUS. We have some exciting updates for this year's contest, including 4 foals, a change in naming rules, an extended entry period, and a cash prize with unique keepsake. Follow the foals all summer through our official social media channels as they grow and develop, and we look forward to seeing the names. Visit namethefoal.sprucemeadows.com for more information and to submit your entries. Meet foal number 1. Born April 12, 2020, this little colt was the first Spruce Meadows foal of the year. Not one to shy away, he's figured out that people give the best neck scratches. While he was born dark in color, his dad, Spruce Meadows stallion Do-Re-Mi, is gray, and this little guy will likely take on that color as he gets older. Foal number 1's name will have to start with the letter W. Inspired by the original Spruce Meadows stallion, Wodka, or Young Wolfsburg as he was known at Spruce Meadows, this beautiful Hanoverian stallion helped to introduce the breed to Canada. He was part of the foundation of what is now the Spruce Meadows breeding program. Meet foal number 2. Born April 24, 2020, the second foal of the year is also a colt and has the same sire as foal number 1. Unlike his sibling, he's a little more timid and prefers to stay closer to Mom. Mom is Spruce Meadows mare Skyline, who always produces great-looking foals. This is her 4th baby. Foal number 2's name will need to start with the letter A, inspired by Spruce Meadows riding master Albert Cly. Albert's passion for horses brought him to Canada as a young man. He never intended to settle down in Canada, but Spruce Meadows co-founder Ron Southern convinced him. Albert brought with him knowledge and skills that would be passed on to all of his students and help create what is now the Spruce Meadows Horse Program. He was responsible for the development of many national team horses and riders. Meet foal number 3, a real Mother's Day gift who was born on May 10th, 2020. She's the first filly out of all the foals this year and is easily recognizable with her big white blaze that mimics the markings of her father, Spruce Meadows stallion Spot Cash. Foal number 3 will need to have a name that starts with the letter S. Keeping with tradition of past years, her father is Spruce Meadows Hanoverian stallion Spot Cash, and we want her name to be inspired by Spruce Meadows and the Southern family. Spruce Meadows was the dream of the Southerns to bring an unlikely sport to an unlikely place, giving young Canadian riders a chance to successfully compete against the world's best. Since the inception of Spruce Meadows, Canadian riders have gone on to become some of the best in the world. Meet foal number 4. This year, Spruce Meadows welcomed a 4th foal to the family at the beginning of the Victoria Day long weekend on May 16, 2020. She is a beautiful big girl with bright eyes and a sweet personality. Her father is Do-Re-Mi, and her mother is the lovely Kate H. Foal number 4 is a bonus entry for Name the Foal presented by TELUS. Her name will need to start with the letter M, inspired by Spruce Meadows co-founder Mark Southern. Mrs. Southern has had unmatched influence and passion shaping Spruce Meadows into what it is today. Her motto, "The coffee pot is always on," brings a warm feeling to Spruce Meadows, and guests always feel like family. Visit namethefoal.sprucemeadows.com for more information and to submit your entries.
did you hear from the real estate agent?
No.
Anything from the agent?
No?
Anywhere from the agent?
No.
Yes, yes, yes.
No. No. No.
It's time for ooey gooey, melt in your mouth, lip smacking, soul affirming, lovely, special, smooth, delicious chocolates. Only from Purdy's Chocolatier.
Horseware Ireland is known internationally for their quality horse, dog, and even goat blankets. From grassroots to Grand Prix, they have something for everyone. Within the 5 brands that Horseware has, you'll be able to find the quality fit for your horse. Each brand fits a little bit different between shoulders, length, deepness of your horse. They also have blankets from fly sheets to rain sheets, which is shown here, right up to the highest density winter blankets for the coldest weather. They have blankets at every price point, although the quality is never sacrificed. These blankets are well designed and made with quality material. They also fit from the tiniest mini horse right up to the biggest draft horse. We've got something for you. If you don't see something on our website, but you see it on the Horseware Ireland website, just let us know and we can special order it for you. Not only does Horseware make quality blankets, they also have a high-end brand called Alejandro Albanese. They make mesh show jackets that have been seen from Pony Club right up to the international ring. They're an amazing price point and keep you cool on those hot days. They have a wide range of colors: navy, black, hunter green, gray, aviation blue, espresso, and really pretty pinky Primatova. They also have a great line of breeches and outerwear, which Brian is showing us here. And they also have great show shirts. Not only does Horseware Ireland make incredible rain sheets for your horse, they make top-of-the-line rain gear for you. Rima's got on the Linny long raincoat in heaven blue. We also have it in navy. It's a great jacket you can wear riding. It's got the double zipper and also side zippers on either side so that it will fit over top of your saddle. This will keep you dry. Not a lick of water will get in. Horseware also has another great line, the H2O. They have trousers, rain jackets on ponchos, great for horse shows, riding your horse, watching your son's soccer game. They're just great. Each season, Horseware comes out with fun seasonal options. Morgan has on the Cora Cowneck Zip Up. Gives a little spice to your ride, great on a jog. And Morgan's also got on the newly received Tailored Sportsman in Sailor Blue with the beautiful tan knee patches. We have a large range of sizes in the Tailored Sportsman breeches and 4 different colors.
It's time to look ahead. Time to roll up our sleeves. Time to get back to the things we do best. So when you're ready, RAM can help. Right now with Employee Pricing Plus, you pay what we pay and get 0% financing for 84 months and no payments for 120 days. And you have the option to buy remotely with RAM Click and Drive. RAM, helping you get back on the road with Employee Pricing Plus and 0% financing for 84 months.
Integrity, caring, agility, collaboration. Every day, our people go to work delivering inspired solutions in structures and logistics, electricity, natural gas, retail energy, and ports and transportation to homes, businesses, and communities around the world. Find out more at atco.com.
Thank you for joining us for the Sunday edition of the 2020 Spruce Meadows National at Home. We wish you could be with us here in the International Ring to celebrate championship sport in this what was supposed to be an Olympic year. But as all of us work through this, we at Spruce Meadows will continue to populate our social media channels, our YouTube platform, and a variety of other areas where we can try and engage everybody in this great sport from this wonderful venue. As we leave tonight, we're going to look back at 2005, the 30th anniversary of Spruce Meadows. A memorable year indeed, but often it's in our memories because it was a rather soggy year indeed, and case in point was the final day of the National. And with that, the final event. And of course, derbies in the rain can be very exciting. But on that day, there were huge amounts of rain falling on the international ring. But that did not damper the level of competition. And what a competition it was, featuring Olympic champions and derby champions from around the world. The great BZ Madden, Rodrigo Pessoa, Michael Whitaker, Nick Skelton. They all came to play on a stage that had been soaked in rain overnight, but a course that does not change from year to year. Here's the 2005 Derby from the Spruce Meadows National as we leave you tonight.
Don't let anyone ever tell you that there's a drought in the foothills of Western Canada. The rains have been non-stop at the 2005 Spruce Meadows National, and just prior to the commencement of the Shell Cup, they have opened up again, the heavens bringing another inch of rain to the international ring in advance of the most demanding event of the tournament. Hello and welcome to Spruce Meadows. I'm Ian Allison, joined by Linda Heathcott for our coverage of the Shell Cup. Outside our broadcast location, it's unbelievable right now. Linda, have you ever seen weather like this?
First of all week long, Spruce Meadows has been struggling with the weather. Then today, we have rain, hail for 15-20 minutes, then pours. The course is already saturated. I believe what's happening right now is the course designer is meeting with the competitions manager. We're hearing that they're going to modify the course, make the oxers narrow so it's not such a struggle for the horses to use so much power, because where they're going to need the power is getting through the footing.
Let's be clear, they're maintaining the course that was established in 1990 with the founding of the Shell Cup, but under today's conditions, it would be tough to go trail riding, let alone jump a course of 23 obstacles over 1 kilometer in length. We have some veteran riders here who have not competed in the Shell Cup before, namely Nick Skelton, a veteran of the Hickstead Derby. He's got a horse here by the name of Russell, who's never been into a Devil's Dyke. Earlier this week, Linda had a chance to catch up with Nick Skelton.
I'm with Nick Skelton of Great Britain. Nick, you've won the Hickstead Derby 3 times, first time into the Shell Cup Derby. What are your expectations going in, and do you think that there's going to be some difficulty, especially with the footing? It's been soggy all week, and that tends to belabor the horses throughout a long course like that.
Yeah, I mean, Russell, who I'm riding the Derby, I mean, he's never been in a Derby before, but he's quite a brave horse, and you know, the ditches and things like that, you shouldn't really look at. I'd be more concerned about the dike, which he's never jumped down before. But like I say, he's brave. But I think, yeah, probably the ground, especially the other day when the dike was full of water yesterday, whether that's got into the ground, who knows? But it's been remarkable today, really, how it's held up and dried out. I mean, credit to everybody.
And now, is there any strategy that you have going into a Derby as opposed to a Grand Prix or a speed event, something like that?
I think with a Derby, with it being such a long course, I would try myself, I always try and get in the rhythm and try and stick in that rhythm, not to break it up too much, because it's a long way to go and a lot of different fences, and I don't think, you've got to sort of give the horse a breather and get some time into him.
Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Since you met with Nick Skelton, the rains have continued, and obviously that will have played a role in the footing and the condition of the Devil's Dyke, but I think other parts of the course could be of concern today.
Many times we've seen the riders jump clean until obstacle number 11, the bank, 5 meters high, and we're going to see treachery now. It's going to be extremely slippery, and the riders are going to have to be extremely cautious here. Rodrigo Pessoa, one of the best riders in the world, has talked to us about step by step getting down the bank.
Just before you go up the bank, you will have a vertical right around here, not very big. And you're gonna go right around, come on top of the bank, and I think the most important thing when you're gonna come down the bank is be very quiet, keep your calm, and try to pass that on to your horse. So you're gonna just let him walk just as you come to the edge, and then he's gonna see the way down. Just put your leg a little bit and keep the contact on the rein so he doesn't jump from the top. We've seen horses do that because of the how steep the hill is, and the weight of the horse is going all on the front end. I think you want to balance a little bit your upper body backwards, so also you have a better view, and you have a better balance of your horse to jump the vertical that's gonna come down. The hill in itself is not very difficult, but where it comes a little bit into play is the vertical right behind it. It's something different than jumping a vertical on Boxster. It's something a little bit different, so I think that's the most important thing.
I'm not sure even the likes of Rodrigo Pessoa, the Olympic champion, could stay relaxed under today's circumstances. We've got the weather to deal with. He's riding a new horse that's only been in his stable about 3 weeks, and he's drawn a late start position. How do you see events unfolding?
It's anyone's game today, although advantage, in my opinion, is to the front end of the competition. Disadvantage is to the back end of the competition, because the footing will start to give away. You're going to see mud instead of the surface water that we're seeing, and the Devil's Dyke is totally saturated, so it's really going to start to give away, and the bank itself may become slippery. So to me, the winner is going to be in the front end of the competition today.
We've only had a number of clear rounds in the history of this event. I think a clear today would be an heroic event. We'll see how the cream rises in the Shell Cup.
Well, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, look no further than the International Ring at Spruce Meadows as Michael Whitaker makes his way through the deluge that has set in over the International Ring over the last hour or so, making conditions as demanding as I've ever seen them at Spruce Meadows. But these athletes came to play, and play they will in the Shell Cup, as Clive Mather, the President and Chief Executive Officer of Shell Canada, takes the salute from Michael Whitaker, first to go in today's competition. On days like this, Linda, I suspect you're glad you're retired from show jumping?
I really do. And you know what? It isn't that the fields were already saturated, and then today we had rain, and then hailstones that were the size of quarters, and then it poured. And now what we're seeing is still a continuing of the rain. You see the footing is completely saturated, a lot of water on the course. You see it splashing. That will bother some of the horses. However, the course designers have modified the course slightly. Very concerned about the footing, and mostly we're all very concerned about the safety of the horses.
30,000 people on site at Spruce Meadows cheering on these athletes, all in the covered seating, full to the brim, as Michael Whitaker is underway over this 1,010-meter course, the traditional course that's been staged for the Shell Cup over the last 14 years. And listen to the crowd.
It is such a pity for Spruce Meadows. The stands were completely full, and then when we had the deluge of rain, a lot of the people that weren't able to be under cover have left or gone into a covered area, and hopefully they will come back to watch the final horses on the Shell Cup.
The final leg of the Spruce Meadows Canadian Championship presented by CN. This man finds himself in second position behind Norway's Geir Gulliksen leading into the competition. Normally to be first in a Derby competition would be a bit of a disadvantage, but if it's possible, does Michael have the best footing today?
He does have the best footing, but the problem is that he doesn't know what the footing is. You can see it's really slippery coming down the bank, and that was worrisome for him coming in. He's sitting on a clear round coming to the Devil's Dyke, and this is another area of concern. How boggy is this going to be? You can see the horse is really getting stuck in the footing there.
Laconda, his 1995 mare, is soldiering on here with just one rail down, which under ideal conditions is a very admirable score in the Shell Cup. Into the home stretch now.
The other thing we should note is the course designers have added 7 seconds onto the typical time allowed, and that's due to the footing again.
Regardless of the conditions, what a performance by Michael Whitaker. Just one rail at the Devil's Dyke, 4 jumping faults. I think he's pointing to the fact that he might have lost a shoe on course, and that would not be a surprise.
You can see here he was very tentative coming down the bank, and then all of a sudden he starts with the momentum and starts to slide. It could get very treacherous with the horses going down the bank. And watch the footing here. He doesn't leave solidly, but the horses are really sticking in the ground right there, and he leaves very long, goes to the whip, drops the rein. He knows he just wants to get out of the Devil's Dyke.
Certainly giving Laconda her head in the Devil's Dyke. 4 faults for Michael Whitaker. He leads the way as Kelly Small, the first of the Canadians to go in competition today, aboard Caliber, comes into the ring. Her first Shell Cup. This is pretty tough stuff for this youngster.
But what a great rider. We've seen her all week, and she has just performed outstanding, posting some great results in the international ring. She's coming into this event with a lot of confidence, and in one way it is a nicer round for her because the course has been modified. It's not quite as big. The oxers aren't quite as wide. If she can get into the Devil's Dyke, it's a little bit lower, so she probably could get out. And in some ways, it's probably better for her.
22-year-old from Kanata, Ontario in central Canada. And she is aboard a 1995 model Holsteiner gelding named Caliper. This is Kelly Small. The weather hasn't dampened the enthusiasm of the crowd.
No, and you know what's neat about the crowd is they're so well educated and they understand the Derby course. They understand where the tricky parts are and where the horses and riders should be rewarded if they jump them clean.
I think Spruce Meadows had registered about 7 inches of rain over the national tournament coming into today's competition, and I would think at least an inch of rain has fallen in the last hour.
At least. And you know, when I talk about modifying the jumps, I should be clear with our viewers. These are not small jumps. I walked around the course. They're still 4'9". They're still 5-foot verticals on course. They've just made some of the oxers a little bit narrower, and this vertical at the bottom of the bank isn't quite as tall as it usually is. And coming into the Devil's Dyke has been taken down 1 hole, which is 2 inches.
Ooh, and that's tough on the turf. As Caliper puts on the brakes, you could see the turf rip up coming into the Devil's Dyke, which historically is the most demanding part of this course. The judges sound the klaxon as the jump crew goes to work to put the A element of this closed obstacle back together. And that will have an impact on those horses still to follow, the way that the big gray put on the brakes there and really ripped up the turf.
Very difficult for a rider to create the momentum and the aggression coming into the Devil's Dyke the second time after a refusal, because it is so hard to get that oomph going.
It's a day she'll long remember, the most demanding conditions on record for the Shell Cup.
Here you see the water on the ground splashing right at the Shell Cup vertical. And then watch Kelly as she's coming into the Devil's Dyke. She's very unsure, she's not focused, she doesn't ride hard enough and keep her horse together, and the horse becomes very unsure with the footing, and that's where she has the stop.
Well, the footing's anything but ideal. Michael Whitaker, however, may have had it at its best.
Obviously I got the best of the ground being first in, but it's very wet and sloppy, but I didn't feel like it was holding her too much, you know. A little bit in places, but it's not too bad.
Translation, the footings may be better than we expected out there, at least in the early going of the Shell Cup. We'll find out now as Leslie Howard of the United States, the great veteran, two-time Olympic medalist, aboard a Dutch-bred gelding by the name of Joop, who hasn't enjoyed all that much success at the Spruce Meadows National this year, not much of a mudder. And as a result, maybe she'll have her going a little bit tough today. Leslie, a former champion of this event, 2001, aboard the great Sublieft.
Of course, Leslie, if she enters the ring, she's going to be a very aggressive rider and ride the horse, you know, to the jumps and be very solid, which was where we saw Kelly Small a little bit tentative coming into the Devil's Dyke. 4 faults for Leslie. She's riding her horse perhaps a little bit too aggressively. She needs to just settle down a little bit and trust that the horse is going to leave the ground. We've seen the horses cope with the footing just fine so far. The challenge for the riders that are early on is that they're warming up in an indoor tent. So they're coming into the ring, their reins are dry, their saddles are dry, but it also, the weather is such that they don't want to spend much time out in the rain assessing the other competitors and assessing what's happening with the course conditions. And that's where Leslie, I think, is a little bit lax in that she hasn't understood that the footing is holding up.
Certainly not wasting her time over the course right now. In many years, horse and rider arrive at the top of the bank here, 5 meters in height, with clear scorecards, and the real test begins as they descend the bank. Leslie's had a few problems up to this point as she gives a little tap with the spurs to the Dutch-bred gelding.
You could see the horse paused, but he didn't take a step backwards. It's important for the judges to watch that, because if the horse doesn't continue his forward movement, the judge can assess the horse for faults for a refusal.
Interesting track out of the vertical. She jumped out at one end and now is going to set up for the Devil's Dyke, taking a wide berth.
And you can see Joop, he jumped the water on the ground. He wasn't so sure about the extra water that was there. A great effort at the Devil's Dyke.
Will not be challenging Michael Whitaker of Great Britain at the top of the standings, who sits alone with 4 faults. Time is marching on for Leslie Howard. Her time taken down the bank and then that wide berth she took will certainly lead to time faults here, as you can see on our timers.
That's right. The one thing that Leslie needs to remember, she needs to come slow into the last combination and very controlled, not aggressive, otherwise she'll have problems, and which she did.
That's her 5th rail on course. So in addition to the 20 jumping faults, we're going to add 3 time faults, a total of 23 for American Leslie Howard.
One of the first areas Leslie had some trouble was the lowest obstacle on course on the tabletop. And the last combination, Leslie needed to keep in her mind that she had enough power with her horse. And what she needed to do was really condense that power so it could jump through the last combination.
The white rails coming down in the international ring for Leslie Howard, part of the 23 fault effort aboard her horse Joop. From a Spruce Meadows veteran to a Spruce Meadows rookie, Johann Frischeis of Austria, coming to Spruce Meadows for the 2005 30th anniversary tour and getting a real eye-opener under these conditions today. This will be his first ever Shell Cup Derby. He has had the advantage of watching some of the greats in the sport And now he is underway. In the 15-year history of this event, just 12 clear rounds. I don't suspect we'll see one today, Linda. 4 faults leads the way.
When you watch Johan, you'll see a completely different style than any of the other riders that we've seen so far, in that he rides with a very long rein. He sits extremely upright, and his horse is almost galloping exorbitantly high with its front end.
With water underfoot, this big bay gelding is putting an exclamation mark to his stride today on course. Johan didn't get into the saddle until he was 15 years of age, so a bit of a late starter in this sport.
His horse looks like it's got enough spunk to get around the course.
Chemistry seems to be off a bit right now, but they're getting over the jumps.
But remember, he's clear to this point. What he needs to do is take a deep breath, settle his horse down, and regroup for the last half of the course. Coming down quite gingerly.
Very slow trip down the bank, but they achieve it safely. Now onto the Devil's Dyke. There's their first rail on course for 4 faults. Oh, and a bit of a runaway there.
Johan and his horse were not communicating very well there, and just totally had a miscommunication as to where he was going and what he was supposed to be jumping, because look at his horse, comes right in and walks right through the Devil's Dyke, having C obstacle, which is 13C. We've seen that come down a lot today, and that's probably because of the footing and the bog within the Devil's Dyke.
Having a pretty difficult back 9 right now, having been clear to the top of the bank. Foot in the water, like you could tell today, for another 4 faults.
All of his feet are in the water at the moment.
Time faults, of course, will be assessed at a rate of 1 fault for every 4 seconds or portion thereof over our allowed time.
And another rider who comes in too strong to the last combination, 18A and B.
There is the final tally for the lone Austrian in today's competition. 34 faults, and they look to be out of breath.
Johan came down so gingerly, but he was exceptional about creating a lot of momentum for the vertical at the bottom, just barely touching it. Where he had trouble was coming into the Devil's Dyke the first time, but coming back the second time, look at him. He soars through it easily, and if he was just a bit more patient, he probably could jump it clean.
Little heavy coming out of the Devil's Dyke as Jill Henselwood of Canada gets ready to take on the Shell Cup course. Jill Henselwood comes into today in 3rd position in the Spruce Meadows Canadian Championship standings. She trails Michael Whitaker, who is already in the clubhouse with 4 faults. Jill's aboard Special Ed.
I have been extremely impressed with this combination this week. They are right on. Special Ed and Jill are communicating so well. He is jumping great, and you can see the confidence in Jill's riding ability. She is just on the money right now.
Well, it was about 3 years ago, she said to us she thought she had found a real one in the form of Special Ed. She was going to take her time, bringing him up to the top level of the sport, and that is really starting to pay dividends for her now.
And such a contrast, you know, where we saw Johan a little bit flailing around the course. Look at Jill, she's very calm. You see a lot of composure. She knows exactly how she wants to ride the course. Footing doesn't appear to be bothering her. It's just business as usual.
Nicely over the dry ditch, which isn't all that dry today. It's been pumped out a number of times by the Spruce Meadows grounds crew.
The one thing Jill needs to be aware of, she appears to be a little bit on the slow side. She's quite cautious and very methodical about her approach to the course, but we'll have to keep our eye on that time allowed.
Commencing her trip down the bank aboard Special Ed. Whoa, problems here. Get up, get up, get up.
What a great horse. Look at that rapport between her and Special Ed. She trusted him to stay on his feet. She didn't panic, and he trusted her that she wasn't asking him to do something untoward.
Problems coming in, but no problems coming out of the Devil's Dyke. They have just one rail thus far. 4 faults. They can keep it at that. They will tie Michael Whitaker at the top of the standings as they continue their horse race for the overall championship here at Spruce Meadows. See if that time becomes a bit of a problem. She doesn't have the pace.
You can see behind Jill there on the bank just the divots that the horses are taking out of the bank with the wet conditions and the soggy footing. Last combination. I like the way she's riding into it. Very composed, creating the power that she needs. She gets it jump.
She has a time fault, however. About 1.5 seconds over the allowed time. That could be very costly as Great Britain's Michael Whitaker stays on top of the leaderboard.
Watch this. The horse starts gently, gingerly, starts to slide. Jill stays forward on him, allowing him to stay on his feet. What a great ride from Jill Henselwood, and what trust from Special Ed.
Jill Henselwood heads to higher, drier ground after providing us all with another Spruce Meadows moment in time. Countless other 30-year memories, compliments of Canadian horsemen, have been provided at Spruce Meadows through the decades by the legendary Royal Canadian Mounted Police musical ride. This year, despite the weather, fans by the tens of thousands came to salute and enjoy Canada's proud tradition of the Mountie, providing us all with more memorable moments in time. From Canadian history and tradition to Canadian youth and perhaps the future of international show jumping, one of the young stars in Canada, Kim Farlinger next to go aboard this gelding that's impressed us over the last couple of seasons, Del Destino.
Kim coming into the Shell Cup, a solid competitor in the international ring. One of the first times she's attempted one of the derbies, but she has all the trust in this horse.
Great pedigree after enjoying a wonderful junior career where she was the individual gold medalist at the North American Young Riders Championships in 2003. She seems to have transitioned well into the international ranks. Still has to iron that little bit out. We saw her in the CN Reliability Grand Prix, working on a clear round, having a stop at the final fence. Now we'll find out how she cuts her teeth in the Shell Cup Derby.
It's interesting to note that a couple of the young up-and-coming Canadians both train with Jill Henselwood, who I really believe is riding spectacular these days. Kim trains with Jill, as does Kelly Small.
However, she's competing against her right now and has just fallen below her in the standings. Jill has finished up with 5 faults today. Kim Farlinger with a couple rails down thus far, carrying 8 faults.
I'm seeing a horse that looks a little lethargic, a little tired. Could be from the footing. Kim has competed the horse a lot this week, and then when you see the footing like this, you have to understand it's heavy going. It's a lot of work. Look at the skid marks on the bank. Kim encouraging Del Destino to come down safely. But we're not seeing a lot of spunk in the canter, which we've seen all week, and today looks a little not quite there.
Little heavy, chasing him through the Devil's Dyke. Look at this. This crowd knows. Clear in the Devil's Dyke, despite the other rails, and that's always a bonus for the very knowledgeable fans here at Spruce Meadows.
And interesting to note, the horse picked up his pace just right then when the crowd started to cheer for him. He thought, oh, I am doing something good. It's not just tough slugging out here.
Let's see how they finish now. Not well. A stop at the Sawtooth Vertical. Interesting, earlier in the tournament we saw this horse stop at a vertical. Granted, it was the red and white planks, but hopefully for Kim that doesn't become a habit. Well, there you have it. Time, of course, a bit of a problem. Combined with the 4 rails on course will bring them to the clubhouse with a total of 25 faults.
Not the round she was looking for. She had a few areas of concern. Here she left far too long. You could see the horse really reach out. Couldn't cover the distance of the yellow and white oxer. And you can really see heavy slugging with the footing here for all of the horses in the international ring today.
Great look at the cleats in the horseshoes of Del Destino as he heads back to the international warm-up area. Through the brand new clock tower still under construction, which should be finished in time for the North American and Masters tournaments here at Spruce Meadows. Richard Spooner next to take on the course here. 2004 Spruce Meadows Canadian champion. Will be relinquishing that overall title today. However, as a man that's well versed in Derby competition, he's aboard an Irish-bred gelding in the form of Hilton Flight that may not find the going too difficult today, so Michael Whitaker could be challenged at the top of the standings. 4 faults leads the way as Richard Spooner from Burbank, California is underway aboard Hilton Flight.
Richard's got his work cut out for him early on in that he has the second obstacle down. So now he has to concentrate on just keeping it at 4 faults. And that's with the bank and the Devil's Dyke and the last oxer combination coming up.
Richard Spooner is all about winning. So he's got to leave it behind now. With the vast majority of the course still ahead, he's over number 6 on the east side of the stadium and heading to the road jump.
Just see the water splashing everywhere. And some horses get quite concerned about that hitting them.
As he has a second rail on course. The big vertical leading towards the up ramp to the top of the bank here. So carrying 8 faults. Great Britain continues to lead.
Richard coming down the bank. And another horse really sitting on his haunches there. Again, we see the experience of the rider, Richard Spooner, not panicking and understanding he needed to keep the horse's balance underneath him.
Carrying 8 faults into the Devil's Dyke and 8 faults out, much to the delight of this drenched crowd. So Richard has both rails prior to getting to the top of the bank and sits on 8 faults coming towards the home stretch here.
You can see Richard picking up the pace, very cognizant of the time that he's taken to get around the course.
Big bounce on 18A there, but it stays in the cup. Richard glances up at the scoreboard for the story, and the story is 2 rails down for 8 faults and 1 time fault for a total of 9 for our entry from the United States. That's the top placed American to date.
Here you see a spectacular ride from Richard. Again, that experience holding them together. He knew when to lean forward and allow his horse to continue the momentum down the bank. Right there you see him sliding, wanting to sit on his haunches. Great ride from Richard Spooner.
Only 2 entries have got through the Devil's Dyke clear today. One of them Richard Spooner, the other Kim Farlinger of Canada.
I mean, I didn't actually know I made it through clear right away until the crowd was screaming, but I went to heroics. I started with my stick. I growled at him. I mean, he's such a trier, and when I say, you know, come on, buddy, we got to go, he gives me 110% every time.
Excited young rider at the Spruce Meadows National, having completed her first Shell Cup Derby. Nonetheless, Great Britain continues to lead the way at Spruce Meadows. One of the great characters in this sport, Will Simpson of California, comes in aboard a new horse for him, a thoroughbred by the name of Boxster. I talked to Will earlier in the week and he said to me, I think I found one with a big heart. That may be important today. First Shell Cup for this horse, and we've seen Will in the past enjoy great success with his Irish-bred mare, Ado Annie. That horse no longer in the stable. He goes to Boxster.
Where Will is really going to have to bring his experience to the forefront today is Boxster is unorthodox. When you watch him jump, he really twists his front end over to the left-hand side. So Will has to make sure that he allows that front end to have enough room to do that twist. Otherwise, we're going to see some rails come down. So far, he's maneuvering it just fine.
Very different conditions than on the home court for Will Simpson in Thousand Oaks, California. But he's a gamer. We'll find out if Boxster is.
You can see Boxster is not a fluid jumper. He really struggles over the jumps.
About to find out how much he enjoys natural obstacles as well.
He found some good footing coming down the bank. Clear into the Devil's Dyke.
Storyline unfolding here with 4.
And we're really seeing that twisting. That's where he wasn't able to give the horse enough room to allow the twist to happen and got into a lot of trouble in the Devil's Dyke.
The rails, they are a-falling on the international ring right now after a very good performance up to the Devil's Dyke for Will Simpson. So Great Britain will assuredly retain the lead. Michael Whitaker with 4 faults. This horse might be out of gas.
This horse is looking tired now. The gallop is not as fluid. The try is not there. He's finding the heavy footing really tough. And of course, a thoroughbred would find it harder because their feet are smaller, they're much more athletic, and they use their athleticism when they fall or sink in so deep for the jumps. It's really hard on them.
Well, Will Simpson had a pretty good round going to the top of the bank, and there it appears things started to unravel.
A lot of the equipment, all-weather equipment, has Velcro on it. And so the pit crew for Will Simpson added duct tape to the footing or to around the horse's hoof to be able to secure the bell boots and the jumping boots. And you see it unraveling, which could really disconcert a thoroughbred horse like Boxster.
Will Simpson found the good footing coming down the bank. The same can't be said for Richard Spooner.
Well, I was coming down the bank and he started to slip. I think his hocks hit the grass. We don't put any studs on his hocks, obviously. And so we came sliding down the bank, and then I loosened up with my hands to try to let him kind of catch up with his front end, and he did. And then we threw a shoe going into the grob. So after that, it was dicey. And funny enough, after we threw the shoe, we didn't have a rail down. So maybe I should have thrown the shoe earlier.
Great student of the sport. Richard Spooter might be on to something as we get ready for Beezy Madden and Judgment. 2004 Olympic medalist Beezy Madden riding this great stallion who ironically in his career had problems with water. That's not a good thing today because the entire course essentially is water, but she's gone to Judgment in her stable. And now Beezy Madden, who has had such a great career at Spruce Meadows, we'll see if she can challenge Michael Whitaker at the top of the standings. I think a year ago they stopped out at the Devil's Dyke here, Linda, so lots of things that we'll watch out for today.
See a lot of power from Judgment, and we shouldn't see this particular horse run out of steam. He's got all of the power, the fitness, and the training to be able to gallop around this course. I guess the question in our minds is, does he have the heart and the willingness to jump all the natural obstacles?
The Devil's Dyke and the water incorporated into the course as they have been since the Shell Cup first started in 1990, and it was in 2003 that Beezy Madden won this event aboard her Dutch-bred gelding Innocence. Now it's the Dutch-bred stallion Judgment that's on course. Big power there. It's amazing, these riders, Linda. They all wanted to play. They all wanted to jump. They came to Spruce Meadows to take on the Shell Cup, and they are going to do it, including the likes of Beezy Madden, Rodrigo Pessoa still to come, and of course, our current leader, Michael Whitaker.
Beezy found some good footing, but see, Judgment lands and jumps the water at the bottom.
Thought there was an added water jump on course here.
Well, and there is. Oh, and then he goes to jump it again.
Problems in, but none out. 4 faults for Beezy Madden right now. This horse has a huge stride. Doesn't appear to be going that fast, but time should not be a problem.
A great ride from Beezy Madden at the Devil's Dyke. She went to the whip. She was aggressive and committed, and that's where we have seen in this particular course the inexperience come to the forefront. Beezy said to herself, I'm getting through the Devil's Dyke. The worst it can be is 12 faults. So she gets through and she only has 4 faults.
12 faults would be a respectable score today at Spruce Meadows as Beezy Madden lines up for the final line. She's got under 10 seconds to bring it home. She's carrying 4 faults. Will she do it? Indeed she does. The United States moves to the top of the standings, tied with that man, Michael Whitaker of Great Britain. So will the red, white, and blues be doing battle in a jump-off here today? He can't believe he has to maybe go back into that ring.
Horrendous conditions, and we have a jump-off. Look at Beezy. She says, come on, Judgment, we're going. And she never lets up. She's so committed, and she makes the horse work through that whole Devil's Dyke. A great ride.
Beezy Madden perhaps extends her work day. A clear round would break the tie at the top of the standings. We have a number of top horse rider combinations still to come, including Olympic champion Rodrigo Pessoa. But first we go to France. Jan Candel will be next to go, sporting the rain gear, understandably so. He's aboard a horse named Dutch, 1994, obviously Dutch-bred gelding. Jan Candel, who resides most of the year in Canada, but still rides internationally for France and has had a pretty solid national tournament thus far.
Leading into today, he's already won over $40,000.
$170,000 on the line this afternoon at Spruce Meadows. In addition to that, the Spruce Meadows Canadian Championship presented by CN, which has with it a Daimler Chrysler prize vehicle and added cash bonuses. Michael Whitaker in good shape to lay claim to that right now.
Jump number 2 has already caught up with Jan Kandel, so he needs to put that behind him and focus on the jumps ahead.
I was just about to say, so far it looks as though he has left it behind, but now sitting on 8 faults. We know that our 2 entries tied with 4 at the top of the standings will not welcome a third into that first place logjam right now.
Another horse jumping the water at the bottom of the bank.
Near avalanche conditions as that sod starts to get balled up with the loam underneath it. Into the Devil's Dyke for Jan Kandel. Brings all 3 down, so there's a quick 12 to add to the scorecard.
The footing is getting deep in the Devil's Dyke, so if the horses don't get a clean shot in, it's tough for them to, you know, grab their footing and be able to jump out of the Devil's Dyke. It is so wet, our cameras are really having a difficulty keeping up with the water that's coming down.
Big premium on lens paper in the International Stadium right now. Time will not be a problem as Jan Kandel of France finishes up, but we have a number of rails on course, including 3 in the Devil's Dyke for a total score of 24 faults, 6 rails in all.
Riding hard into the Devil's Dyke. You see the horse didn't leave off squarely on his front feet, and then he's struggling. It's a domino effect in the Devil's Dyke. You just can't get that footing to be able to correct it.
Prior to the start of the competition, the Spruce Meadows organizers decided to lower the specs on some of the fences. Let's find out if BZ Madden endorsed that decision.
Yeah, I think it was a very good decision. They did not make it easy by any means. It's they only lowered a few fences and only by a hole or 2. So, and they made the double oxers in the beginning a little narrower. So, I think they kind of had to, not knowing what how the footing was going to be. But I think actually it's quite soggy on top, and the roots are holding still so far.
Well, one horse that won't notice the difference or the changes made to today's track is the Irish-bred gelding Richmount Park, who is still to come with Olympic champion Rodrigo Pessoa. Great Britain's Michael Whitaker leads the way, tied for first with BZ Madden as another British veteran of Derby competition. Nick Skelton gets ready to take Russell around this track. Multiple winner of the Hickstead Derby, Linda. First time ever to Spruce Meadows for the summer tour. Let's see if this gray stallion with the great veteran Nick Skelton on board can either go to the top of the standings clear cut with a clear round and or join the ranks of the jump off.
And I had a chance to catch up with Nick earlier in the week. Nick talked about the fact that this is a brave horse, but he has never jumped a Devil's Dyke in his life before. So, especially with the footing, the conditions, he could have a lot ahead of him. So far, he's keeping a good pace, nice balance, and Russell is jumping with no problems at all.
Well, as BZ Madden was alluding to, there have been some modifications, but it's still very much a test here on the final day of the Spruce Meadows National, and thus far, Nick Skelton and Russell showed up prepared for the exam. Still raining rather heavily out on the stadium.
It is. Nick's got to be a little bit concerned, especially with the footing. He's seen the footing give way here. He's headed way over to the left-hand side. Found some good footing coming down. Clean to date.
Here comes the Devil's Dyke. First time ever for Russell.
He gets in.
Oh, and a stop. The judges blow the buzzer. Oh, I think we have a problem here. The bell has sounded, and that may spell elimination for Nick Skelton. That's a closed obstacle. I don't believe he's heard it, or at least he's indicating he hasn't. What's the rule here, Linda?
We should explain that. The combination of the Devil's Dyke, A, B, and C, it is a closed obstacle, so the horse and rider are not allowed to leave the enclosure. So if he has the refusal at C, he has to stay in.
These conditions, that horse jumped out of there. Took 2 strides and jumped out.
Nick is not endorsing the decision by the FEI officials here.
He ran out. He didn't stop, he went out. If he didn't go out, Ron, I'd still be in there.
Let's see.
Nick is saying that the horse took 2 gallop strides and jumps out. 1, 2, and he stops. Nick gets back in the tack. We see the backward motion. That is the refusal. And then Nick jumps the jumps on the ground and leaves the obstacle. Here we go. 1, 2. There's the stop. Gets back in the tack. And there's the backward motion. Right there's the refusal.
And it looks like a good call on behalf of the officials, although I'm sure that Nick Skelton, being the competitor he is, wouldn't endorse it. Well, excitement and discontent on the middle of the playing surface at Spruce Meadows as Nick Skelton, sitting on a clear round until he got to the Devil's Dyke, is eliminated from the competition for leaving a closed obstacle after a refusal. And I'm sure we'll be hearing more of that from Mr. Skelton as the tournament and events continue. But we move on to our Brazilian athlete next to come in, Bernardo Alves. Part of a very powerful Brazilian entry here at Spruce Meadows. Of course, a year ago, jumping to victory in the Atco Power Queen Elizabeth II Cup. Former Pan American gold medalist. And I think maybe considered a bit of a second fiddle to Rodrigo Pessoa, the Olympic champion, but this is no slouch in Bernardo Alves.
He is a great rider. He is competitive. And what you'll see, very fast around the course. Doesn't waste any time getting to the jumps. This horse, we'll see, is finicky with its mouth. A lot of tongue wagging, a lot of open, wide mouth. And it looks like Bernardo's always having to wrestle this horse back in.
Well, this will be an endurance match then in wrestling terms, as they've got a kilometer of jumping to undertake as a team together here. United States and Great Britain sitting at the top of the standings with 4 faults for both Beezy Madden and Michael Whitaker. There's the first 4 for Bernardo, and quickly he's out of the equation with 8.
We're seeing an unruly horse and a rider that is not able to contain the horse, running through the bridle and not paying attention to the jumps. That is problematic for this particular course. Well, for any course for that matter.
He's going right down the center of the bank here. Didn't seem to bother this horse. Four coming in, but nicely out of the Devil's Dyke. fitness doesn't appear to be a problem here.
No, not at all. It appears this horse could gallop around the course once more. I'm not sure Bernardo's arms could, though.
The definition of humidity is a little bit different at Spruce Meadows than maybe in Brazil right now, as it's cool and very, very wet out there.
Needs to contain the horse to the last combination. And it catches up with him.
That's the fourth rail on course. Time not a problem, but 16 jumping faults will mean no jump off or victory for Bernardo Alves today. 4 faults leads the way.
4 knockdowns happened at jump number 8. A good look at the corks that Bernardo has in his horse's hooves.
Skylar Riley of the United States comes into the stadium here as we're well into the order in the Shell Cup Derby, and Skylar delivers the Cavaliers salute to Clive Mather, the President and Chief Executive Officer, who is watching from the center of the ring. He actually had an up-close and personal appointment with Nick Skelton just a few minutes ago. He's sitting right next to the Devil's Dyke out there. Skylar Riley knows what it takes to win a Derby at Spruce Meadows. She won the Chrysler Classic here a year ago aboard this horse under ideal sunny conditions. Let's see how Opus Sepp handles these conditions with Skylar Riley. Big bay gelding.
Skylar coming in confident in that this horse has been able to cope with all of the obstacles on course. But right there, she has a fence down. We saw the horse drift a little bit from the right-hand side of the screen to the left-hand side of the screen. What that is telling me is the horse doesn't leave the ground square, and probably with the imbalance there is having the fence down.
Skylar will try and sort that out as she approaches fence number 6 now, a third of the way through the course.
This is a round that looks a bit like Jill Henselwood. A little under pace. Skylar's going to have to keep in the back of her mind. The time is, even though it's been extended, is still tight with these conditions.
And people have been eating up valuable seconds coming down the bank. She seems to have some pace with Opus Sepp here right now. Oh, there goes a bell boot. Light rub
Footing really
coming in.
giving away there. You could see the horse sink in, and he tried to come out but couldn't quite get out of sea.
Some tough sledding in the Devil's Dyke. She's lucky to get through with just the 4 faults there. Now heading towards the water jump. Carrying 8 faults. It's a long time to be galloping with the rain coming into your eyes. I suspect it's very difficult for these riders today because it has been unrelenting.
And we see the horses, their gallop a little bit more labored towards the end of the course. That's because of the footing, that's because of the length of the course, that's because of the conditions. All of those are factors today.
Time is a factor as well for Skylar Riley. Just the 2 rails on course, but we'll tack on 2 time faults for a total of 10. That's a very, very admirable score to be posting today. 4 faults leads the way at Spruce Meadows.
Right here, watch this. The horse really drifts to the left, and you can see he doesn't leave square. You can see his legs are uneven, and that's why he has 4 faults there.
Tough working conditions at Spruce Meadows in the International Stadium today, with the final and crowning event of the Spruce Meadows Canadian Championship. And you see Skylar Riley, couldn't see, she's got a horseshoe in her hand. Tough way to come home from the office. Here's the Olympic champion from Brazil, Rodrigo Pessoa, aboard a new mount for him. Has just had this horse less than a month. This is Richmount Park, no stranger to international competition, but a new ride for Rodrigo Pessoa. Irish-bred gelding should like the going out here, if nothing else, or at least be accustomed to it. Doesn't mean you have to like it.
Richmond Park, an experienced horse, having competed in Jerez for the World Championships. Rodrigo just receiving the ride 2 weeks ago, and looks like it's a great match, or a match made in heaven, posting some top scores already earlier this week.
Well, there's always big shoes to fill when you arrive at the stable of Rodrigo Pessoa to carry on the traditions of the likes of Tomboy, Special Envoy, Lianos, and of course the great Balobé, who is the winner of 3 World Cup finals and the Olympic gold medal. Balobé currently in residence at Spruce Meadows, but Rodrigo feeling the conditions were more conducive to this Irish-bred gelding today.
A bunny hop down the bank.
The groundskeepers will have their work cut out for them for the rest of the Spruce Meadows season based on what's happened out here today. On to the Devil's Dyke now for Rodrigo.
First one we have clear to this point, to after the Devil's Dyke.
The dedicated fans here at Spruce Meadows sensing there might be an historic clear round. Compliments of Rodrigo Pessoa.
And he's on a horse that is still bucking and playing around. We've seen horses labor at this point, but not Richmond Park. Looks like he's got enough spice coming into the last combination. Is Rodrigo patient enough? This is where we've seen some heartbreak.
Oh, landing gear problems on the final obstacle. Pessoa knows he may have made the mistake there. He drops his head in disbelief. Beezy Madden, I think, happy that she might be jumping off here. Wow. Big effort there, but the last rail comes down.
Right here, we talked about the horse having some spice. Rodrigo just came into that combination a little bit too hot, and then Richmond Park wasn't quite able to get his front legs up. We see Beezy, she's laughing a little bit, or smiling about the fact that she's still in play for the win.
Well, we're getting into the final stages, and right now it's shaping up to be a 3-horse jump off, with those tied with 4 faults. McLean Ward, who happens to be Beezy Madden's Olympic teammate from their medal performance in Athens in 2004, will be next to go aboard Goldica.
Goldica is a nifty little horse. A trier like you can't believe. Watch her. She pins her ears back when she jumps, tucks her front legs up really tight. Very, very careful.
She's a 1992 model mare, so she's a veteran of this game with a veteran in the irons. McLean Ward wants to play.
We're sitting on a clean. McLean understanding he's got a fighter with him and she's willing to give it her all. Needs to settle down for the bank. Oh, another one that jumps the water at the bottom.
Oop, problems there. It's like she went to take off and then had second thoughts. Wants no part of the Devil's Dyke today. A tough break for McLean Ward of the United States. His day is done at Spruce Meadows. The same is not true for Rodrigo Pessoa, who had heartbreak at the final fence.
Yeah, he was jumping really good, and so I wanted to, you know, he's never done a derby, so I didn't know how he was going to react on Liverpools and things like that, double of Liverpools, but he was really great. He did a big jump in, and the distance in there is really short, so he didn't fit, but he really did an amazing job.
He may get to continue that job unless this man, Ian Miller, four-time champion of the Shell Cup and obviously a fan favorite here, can post a clear round. At the moment, 3 tied equal first at the top of the leaderboard. Brazil, the United States, and Great Britain. Ian Miller next to go, over $2 million in career earnings at Spruce Meadows. He's aboard his Olympic mount Promise Me, a horse with a great resume in international show jumping, but not particularly in Derby competition.
Ian has to bring all of his experience to the forefront to assist Promise Me, who is a spectacular jumper, and he's got to allow Promise Me to express himself over these natural obstacles.
Early rail. We're going to a jump off, we know that. How will Miller finish? That was the cue for Pessoa, Madden, and Whitaker to get back in the tack to get ready for a jump off here at Spruce Meadows.
Do you think in the back of their minds they're thinking they should tie it and not come back to jump off in this wet conditions and muddy footing?
Not those three. They are fierce competitors and they already are as wet as they're going to be. So I think one of them wants to see a gold medal around his or her neck.
Plus the $60,000 in first place winnings.
Whitaker, by virtue of his performance today, has guaranteed himself the Spruce Meadows Canadian Championship, which is staged over the 5 days of the national tournament. He outperformed Jill Henselwood today, and as such has assured himself that championship, but he would like to bring the added bonus of a Shell Cup victory to it.
And Ian Miller himself is working on controlling the 8 faults, holding it at that so he can get into the middle of the pack for a good piece of the action.
Ooh, trouble's coming in for Promise Me and coming out. This horse seems to be a little bit out of gas.
We have to remember it's the end of the competition of the first rounders, and so we're seeing perhaps some footing giveaway, the footing really playing havoc, a lot of labor for the horses. Although it is interesting to note that Rodrigo was third last in, and he did almost jump a clear round, with the exception of the last obstacle.
Ian Miller sitting on 16 faults down the final line here in the Shell Cup. Ouch, and that's a costly rail. Ian Miller knows it. He looks to the scoreboard, a sight he's not used to seeing, 20 faults.
And Ian you can see the disappointment on his face, and he should be. Watch this ride. He gets to a good position, but the horse peaks down, is very confused about wanting to leave the ground. To me, Ian gave the horse a great ride, and this horse let him down.
There will not be a 5th Shell Cup for Ian Miller today at Spruce Meadows. However, 3 remain in the hunt, returning to the jump-off. Rodrigo Pessoa, Michael Whitaker, and Beezy Madden of the United States. More action from the Shell Cup when we return. What drama at Spruce Meadows for the final event of the national tournament, the Shell Cup Derby. 3 of the best that have ever played the game advanced to the jump off. They're all known for speed. They're all known for strategy. Michael Whitaker was first to go in the event. He posted a 4-fault trip with Laconda, and that has delivered him to the jump off as he delivers his Cavaliers salute. What course lies ahead?
The jump off course is shortened a lot, 300 meters in length. It's pretty straightforward, but the tricky part is we're finishing with the double Liverpools, and that's the area Rodrigo Pessoa had trouble in the first round.
First in out of 3, what should Michael Whitaker try and do?
He's got to gallop on. He's really got to put the pressure on the other 2 riders. Typically, you like to be the last horse and rider in because you know what you have to beat. In Michael's case, what he needs to do is put the pressure on the other riders to make a mistake.
This will be a treat. 3 of the best that have ever laced them up, and they're all known for their speed.
Good ride there.
Here's the setup for the double of Liverpools. Coming home, Michael Whitaker and Laconda. He's clear in the jump off. 32.08 is the time on course. As you can see, we take the times to 1,000th of a second here in the event of equality of faults.
Michael puts in a solid performance as the first rider on course in the jump off. He does leave a few things on the table. He needed to cut in a little bit tighter to the last combination. He needed to be quicker from 1 to 2.
Michael Whitaker departs the stadium. His waiting game will be brief. Beezy Madden has gone into the ring. There she is aboard Judgment. This big Dutch-bred stallion will eat up the ground in here, whether or not he has the same speed as Laconda or Richmont Park, who will follow with Rodrigo Pessoa. We will soon find out.
We've seen Beezy's commitment, and she will be fierce in the jump off. We saw her ride through the Devil's Dyke. She was absolutely insistent on jumping that particular combination, and she will be insistent on galloping to all of the jumps in the jump off.
She will have formulated a game plan with coach and husband John Madden. Let's see if they can execute it now. Big air there by the stallion.
Doesn't look faster, but she's taken a tighter turn into the combination. Does it help her?
Indeed it does. Look at that. Almost half a second faster, and that shows you the size of this stallion stride. She didn't look like she had the pace, but that's relativity at play for you. Big horse with a big stride, and there is a smile from Beezy.
A big smile from Beezy. Right here, only 1 or 2 gallop strides into the combination, really condensing that power. That was an asset to her in this situation, the power of judgment.
She goes to the top of the standings with a smile on her face, but Rodrigo Pessoa, who's not known for letting up on the accelerator, will be last into the ring now. Great drama here at Spruce Meadows.
Well, the spectators who've chosen to stay have been treated to a spectacular event in the Shell Cup. 3 top riders coming back for the jump off. Rodrigo opening up a little bit more from 1 to 2. Richmond Park is quicker in the air than Judgment. But the trouble area is coming up for Rodrigo with the double combination. This is where he had trouble in the first round.
No problems here. He's across the finish line. A look skyward to the scoreboard. Say no more. There's the champion of the Shell Cup Derby, Rodrigo Pessoa.
It was such tough conditions today, and we see 3 top competitors come in for the jump off. Rodrigo won it. He was fast from 1 to 2, very fast to the skinny white vertical, which is jump number 2. carried a lot of pace to jump number 3B. Then he galloped on to the Liverpool of jump number 4, a tight turn to 17, and he took a chance at 18AB, which was where he had a problem in the first round. A great ride for Rodrigo. You see here, he took his time, jumped the oxer, and really tried over the vertical, and he does it. Nothing like sweet victory.
Brazil.
Hall of Famers on the leaderboard. Rodrigo Pessoa, BZ Madden, and Michael Whitaker all treating us to a spectacular jump off in the Shell Cup Derby. Rodrigo Pessoa is standing by with Ian Allison.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for weathering the storm at Spruce Meadows today. No one, however, has weathered more of a storm than the man who finds himself in the winner's circle, the Olympic champion and newly crowned champion of the Shell Cup, Rodrigo Pessoa of Brazil. Absolutely extraordinary day. A new horse for you, just 3 weeks in your stable, and you come out and you deliver a victory in the jump off. What is going through your mind?
Oh, the horse really jumped unbelievable. Also yesterday and today in the first round, the mistake in the double there was definitely my mistake. I should have come back earlier and not do the jump off. But he was again a great performer, and I think he was running on shell gas today.
He had a little V-power in the tank today for sure, Rodrigo. It's with a great deal of pleasure I introduce you to the President and Chief Executive Officer of Shell Canada, Clive Mather. What a day.
What a day. Wonderful competition, great champion. A little bit soft underfoot, reminded me of the UK, but a real privilege to be here. Great guy.
Well, a worthy champion, and now he gets to reap the rewards of a Shell Cup Derby under less than ideal conditions, but all the more the benefactor for it.
Congratulations. Wonderful, wonderful. 2 rounds. There we go.
$60,000 being delivered by Mr. Mather to Rodrigo Pessoa. He adds another great chapter to his career here at Spruce Meadows. And now, gentlemen, if you would, kindly step forward. And as the champions before you have, hoist the Shell Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, Rodrigo Pessoa, the 2005 Shell Cup champion.
The rain did not deter the top athletes of the world from competing in the Shell Cup Derby. And compete they did. 16 starters, horrendous conditions. 3 finishing with 4 faults in their rounds. They advanced to the jump-off. Michael Whitaker finishes clear and fast in the jump-off. BZ Madden comes in. She's clear and faster. Last to go, Rodrigo Pessoa. He shows us why he's one of the best in the world. Thank you for joining us from Spruce Meadows. Now, on behalf of Ian Allison, I'm Linda Heathcott. See you next time.
I hope you've enjoyed our virtual Spruce Meadows National. It's been fun for our team to put it together, and it is very sad for us not to be with you in person and to have been able to welcome you here to the soggy grounds of Spruce Meadows, but we really hope that you enjoyed it. If I look back, there have been so many memorable moments, but it really has been about the sport and the equine and human athlete. 2 hearts beating as one, great competitors striving for that great success. And it really has been a joy for us to bring it to you. I hope that you've enjoyed it.